Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So I've expressed confusion already about the reigniting of Nina versus Carly. Remember how weird we thought that was when they got into that fight?
Yes, it was very confusing. A hard left turn on narrative.
And you know how we talked about last time too, like let's just say like restructuring things or just kind of trying to resume certain dynamics. Like let's have fights between Ronnie and Tracy as if we asked for it, you know?
Exactly.
And so this is one of those times again where I just feel like, oh, I thought we were past that. And then they're like, no, 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 we're not. Look at this animosity. And I'm like, I'm looking. And then they're revisiting all the reasons. And I'm like, I do get it. I guess they're still mad. I'm starting the week watching these scenes. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand why they're starting this up again. Nina is approaching Carly to talk about hot button issue, right? It's basically my kid versus your kid. There's no winning in that, right? Like,
No.
and at the end of the day, we know that Nina can't control Willow as much as Carly can't control Michael. They have a relationship. He's likely to listen, but at the end of the day, we know that Michael kind of does what Michael's gonna do, even though he has like maybe a better relationship with his mom than Willow has with Nina. And they're both moms who would do anything for their kids, right? So for
Yes.
me, I'm like, this conversation, where is it that you're expecting it to go? By being like, oh, Michael softened up. Can we be best friends now? But I also think Michael's the murderer, not me. Just saying. It's like, what was that conversation?
Okay, I'm so glad you said that because I felt very much the same way. Because I'm like, okay, but dude, you're like the grandmother. Don't you want access and act like a normal person to see your grandchildren? And then they amped it up even more with like she's literally dressed all in black, whereas Carly's dressed like super chill and like jeans and a blazer and a cotton tee. It was just like the good and the bad. And we're gonna show you how bad Nina is. We're gonna dress her in dark colors and we're gonna have her say really crazy stuff. I'm like, what in the world am I watching here?
No, and then it's like and I mean, look, they're making this really obvious of like directing the attention to Michael, and then Carly's like, yeah, but you could too. And Willow could. And I'm like, what is happening? You did murder. No, you did murder. We all would have loved to have done murder, but we don't know. And I'm like, this is such a dumb conversation. It went from
Right?
like, let's make peace and be best friends. Please try to see things my way. It's like, Nina, give it a rest. Stop being so obsessed with Carly seeing things exactly the way you see things. If you love your daughter as much as you say you do, would do anything for her, the same goes to Carly. She's not just going to jump ship and be like, oh my God, I love and see Willow just like you do. It's not going to happen if you can't do the same.
But then you sit down and order food and put money into her establishment. Like, so confusing. So confusing. But I did love, I think it was Carly's maybe last line, like basically that the whole family's like psycho child thieving people.
Well, yeah. Right?
So
When
good.
she started bringing up Nell, and that's the thing too, I was like, "Why are we pulling at this
Right.
thread?" Because the Nell came up, Nina went there, like, you're because we talked about this, right? When, like, people's violent histories would come up, and we're like, "I don't think Carly killed anybody." Like, a lot of people have killed other people, like
Yes.
Alexis. I mean, she's up there in the amount of people she's killed. But we're like, "No, like, Carly doesn't have a body count," and so that was confirmed in that episode too, right? Because Carly's like, "I don't have a body count." She's like, "Well, you killed Nell, like, you let her," and I was like, "Wow, we're still there." Like, this is so for me at this point, I'm like, "Why are you torturing me with this? Like, why is this going down?"
So I think because of you recounting this story in this way is making me think of the fact that like we keep talking about this Willow journey through Nellville, and
Yeah.
Nell's name keeps getting brought up and Nina's violent history. So I think they're paving a road for us where either Willow is having episodes and doesn't know that she shot Drew or that she's legit full on taking on the family DNA and is just doing a really good job at playing innocent, but did indeed shoot him.
You know how much I love, like, owning who you are, so I would really love
Yes.
to believe that this is intentional. Like, I
Me
really do.
too.
I really
Me
do.
too.
But I do think you're right, like, in the way that Nell's being brought up, this idea of, you know, Willow being the good one, Nell being the crazy one, and then Willow going through this storyline where she starts to go, "I think I can kind of understand Nell and everybody being against her."
Right?
And all of that talk over the years of, like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, it was something she used to say to Nina about Nina and Nell before she knew she was also related to
Yes.
them. It goes to all of that history about, like, Nina's fantasies that if I was in my kids' lives, they would not murder, right?
Kidnap.
And but another element of Nell that's being brought up is that remember, Nell and Chase have a history. And right? And they did all those flashbacks once they were taking Nell down, and then they were giving more backstory to how Chase and Nell knew each other, and the way that he like fell for her during one of those investigations and started hooking up with her then.
I
And so
totally forgot. I love your memory.
like, that part, I would say all Nell related is, like, there's definitely parallels with, like, Nell Chase, Willow Chase, uh, as well as just, like, the exploration of Willow and all her facets and her DNA. But another part for me that I felt explained the sudden uptick of being like, "Remember this?" Like, so it started with the fight, and it makes me go, like, did they know all the way back then? Because another way of how I account for how this was presented was you then have, like you said, like Nina investing in Carly's establishments, chilling with her bro, and, like, being in a place where she was actually taking pleasure out of this, right? So there's also
Yes.
this other thing happening too, where Nina is, like, convinced it was Michael, it's inevitable it was him, and, like, Willow was like, "It's Michael." So that part's there, but she was ready to celebrate Carly's demise, and then
Yes.
tables turn.
Oof.
And the way I saw it, because there's a parallel here, you have Carly Nina and you have Michael Willow. And for me, it just felt like, hey guys, remember that they hate each other? Remember Nixon Falls? Remember how you guys weren't satisfied? Here you go. And so for me, I felt like it's a bit too late. Like, I understand we
Yes.
always talked about that, like how we never really got that satisfaction, right? Because Nina came back from Nixon Falls, and it was just like a slow burn where she ended up in a marriage and got her daughter.
That's so true.
So it's like we were always waiting, like, where is the explosion? And even when it came to the dismantling of the Sonny and Nina relationship, it was
Mm.
just like, we're not together. Where's Ava? She can move in. And we're like, what?
What is happening?
So there was never anything explosive. But right now, it's like Carly's getting hers and Michael's getting hers. And I say that because there's a kitchen scene at the Quartermains
Mhm.
where Carly and Michael are on one end and Sunny's on the other end, and they talk about the arrests as they've happened. And then something about who's capable of what, and the comment was made, well, Nina's capable of all sorts of things. And like the facial reactions of Michael and Carly were very linked, right? Because they're the ones who experienced
Mhm.
Nina while Sunny was in Nixon Falls.
Exactly.
But Sunny had a reaction, like this annoyed reaction about them talking about Nina. And I was like,
They're
seriously, right
just
now?
they're just so mad about my ex. Like, I can't believe they keep bringing her up.
Right? So I felt like that very much echoed the Nixon Falls, but I guess that's how I saw it. I felt like, oh, you brought all this up to make this sort of satisfying. But the only way this is satisfying when you reignite the Nina Carly hatred is if you recall the Nixon Falls storyline. Like, this is the only way you could look at this scenario and be like, ooh, satisfying. Nina arrested in front of Carly. It has a direct link to the Nixon Falls storyline because
Mhm.
but for me, while I had wanted that a long time ago, yes, I think it's weird when they're together and they fight because I'm over it because I thought they were over it. But
Yes.
also, Nina did evolve to the point where I'm like, yeah, I don't like that she's going down for this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yes.
satisfying to me, but I could see how it could be satisfying for the Carly character. And I could see how this could be satisfying for the Michael character because there was always this duo of Carly, Michael, and Willow, Nina.
Yes.
So for them, I could see them being really happy, but that's how I understood it, that this was sort of a delayed gratification of Nixon Falls. And I'm like, cool. But I
So
also,
a
yeah,
throwback for us?
yes, it's like a throwback a little bit, vengeance. So if for me, I'm thinking, okay, is this why you amped up all of that stuff again? But then there was that conversation at the Quartermaines. So actually, before I get to that, I want to speak briefly about Dante's conversation with Sunny. Okay. So that's the point. Like start of the week, you have this bizarre Carly Nina back and forth, but we know that they're getting close and closer to an arrest.
Mhm.
So at this point, Sunny's really worried. He's really worried because he spoke to Michael, and Michael says words, and it makes you go,
Say
did
what
you
now?
murder? Yeah.
Exactly.
But what I can't stand, and it was brought up today by like Chase, this everyone's like, Michael has a violent past. He went to prison. And today I think Chase you described it as he murdered a woman. And I'm like,
Yes.
she had kidnapped Carly, kidnapped Joss. He murdered? It wasn't premeditated. He just knocked
No.
her with something and she died. That's what manslaughter is. He didn't plan it, but he was defending Jocelyn and Carly. So I just find it odd. Like he's never been like willy-nilly with the violence. You know what I mean?
Right? Oh, it was such a side of Chase that I did not enjoy.
But this is Chase in the context of Nell, and it is actually who Chase has always been. Does he
Mm.
not love a damsel in distress? He is a cop. He
Yes.
loves saving Willow. And
Yeah.
that's the thing with him in Brooklyn is that while I love them together, hasn't he not become increasingly frustrated because he doesn't get to save her because Brooklyn is not a damsel in distress and she doesn't require saving. She requires a partner. And
Mm.
and which is what gave the opening to be like, "My wife's functioning.
Fully
Willow, how
functional.
are you?" And then you see him, like, enter Willow territory where he gets to be a hero.
Oh, it's like what you want versus what you believe you want.
Pretty much, but I'm worried, right? Because Brooklyn seems to be nervous about Michael and
Yes.
seems to hear Chase's concerns, and while, he is really obsessed about how his ex-wife is doing,
Mhm.
I wonder, right? The line for Brooklyn. Like, how does she draw the line of like, I want to support Chase and maybe he's right, but family loyalty?
I think if Brooklyn saw Chase today and heard that conversation with Dante, she would not be on Willow's side. She would be fighting with Chase.
Yeah, like I think that's where you slap him and be like, do you remember who you're married to? Are you Curtis?
Exactly.
Like that's what I
Right?
would say.
Such Curtis vibes. Yes.
Because if you can't remember, you will be married to no one. I can guarantee you that. But even when they were having that discussion, Chase is like, he made some kind of comment about his current life, and Brooklyn's like, "Do you wanna? Where are you going with this?" But this
Love
whole
that.
guilt of like, I feel so guilty that like I ended up happy.
Ugh.
That she's not. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, she has no backbone. Like, you were dying and she couldn't say, like, dude, I don't love you. I love your best friend.
No, but really though, I love the way you're putting it, but like I'm hearing Chase and what you're saying, and then you have Michael. So Brooklyn is a little bit scared, but everything Michael said, even though it was in a very scary tone, it was a very
Yes.
dark aura around him, is accurate. His job
Yeah.
is to look out for his children, not to save Willow. Like what a contrast in conversations and perspective in Willow. Like he doesn't want her to said it himself. It's not his job to save her. She is a
Yeah.
grown woman and she has children. Her job is to make choices for herself that are better for her children. His job is the kids. Like, point final.
Yeah, like there is a difference there because with Michael, he's speaking from a place of understanding what matters and he's
Yes.
he's motivated by what's best for the kids. And like two things could be true at the same time. He could hate Willow and not want her around his kids, but it doesn't change the fact that the decisions he made for his kids. Like if it was
Yes.
his choice, she would have disappeared from the start.
Yes.
But he had to consider the fact that, like, do I really want, in case they get granted custody next year, that my kids see a stranger? No, I don't want them to be freaked out. So I think that's the difference, right? He took the emotion out of it. Like, I don't think he
Yes.
loves the fact that his wife slept with his uncle. I don't
Oh
think he
gosh, no.
loves seeing Willow like this. I think it probably hurts a ton. But I think that's the difference, right? I guess you can compare the conversation between Dante and Chase, where Dante's like, you're not being impartial and you're not talking about like this investigation. You're searching to make Willow innocent. And I think that's the point. Michael took the emotion out of it and he's grounded in what the kids need. And he's talking in that way. He's basically removing his obligations to Willow from the picture and only entertaining his obligations to the kids. And of course, that looks cold to her, but that's what he's doing. Whereas Chase is like, okay, my wife who cheated on me with my best friend, she's hurting right now. And it makes me feel really bad that I'm with a person who's like
See,
treating me well. I just can't. It hurts.
I think, though, the key to that conversation with Chase and Dante is that Chase didn't put his bat on the desk. So we didn't know which side of
Yeah.
him we were hearing from.
Please, Dante, please. I'm like, this guy shows up to his own home to talk to his own brother and slams his badge down and goes, convince me. And I'm like, or else what? You're asking Michael, convince the brother who put you in jail once
Exactly.
before to convince him of your innocence. Because to be honest, Michael was innocent. He was protecting his mom and his sister, and Sonny was about to get off. Like, Sonny was on the road to being deemed not guilty of Claudia's murder, and they had a whole plan. It wasn't truthful, it wasn't honest, but it would have been one that kept everybody out of jail. But Dante was like, no, we need to be honest. We need to be accountable, but not my son for drinking, just everybody around him. So
Yes.
accountability comes in waves for Dante. But I just find it's kind of intense, because when Chase is accusing Dante, like, do you think that maybe you're being impartial? And I'm like, okay, Chase,
Whoa.
like, you're crying right now. You need to stop crying at work. And like, no, Dante has literally been accusing his own, like, he's been accusing his brother of this murder from
Forever.
the start. Like, from the start, he's telling his boss, yeah, I don't buy my brother's alibi. He's literally put it out there. You think you could buy an alibi from a sex worker? Offensive much?
Right?
And
Jeez.
he goes to that girl's hotel room hoping to disprove his brother's alibi. And then he's disappointed when his brother's there and it makes his brother's alibi look solid. He's upset. He's like, just tell
Yes.
me the truth. Tell me you're guilty. Let me put the cuffs on you. Let me put you in jail. Like, Dante, I think, really wants to put Michael in jail.
He wants to be Sonny's favorite again. We all know this.
Oh my gosh, it's just so like the fact that Chase can't see how willing Dante has always been to arrest his family members is beyond. And like
I
what?
know.
Dante has no problem arresting Brooklyn, no problem arresting Tracy, but
Right?
like, not Willow, not for murder. Like, no. The one thing I do agree with is like, Dante, did you really arrest Willow in front of your niece and nephew? Like, I definitely agree. There's some trauma there for the children. And like, why couldn't you have said like, hey, Willow, could you step outside with us?
Wait till the session was over. Like, I feel like there was a lot of different options at that moment in
So
time.
many different options. So many different options.
It was a brutal move, like legit.
And like, Michael was pretty happy. And like, that's the thing. It doesn't help when he tells his dad like that he's convinced of the outcome and that the investigation will lead where it leads and it won't lead to him. He can guarantee that. And he tells Brooklyn, like, I couldn't have, like, this is not what I intended, but I got the desired outcome.
So bad.
Also,
Inner voice, friend.
yes. But again, like you pointed out, what he's saying is factual, but sometimes you can't take all the emotion out. You need to leave some so you don't sound guilty. Like, just, that's my tip. That's my tip on that one. But even like, okay, about Dante though. So before the arrests are made, I'm like, talk about like a misdirection. And like, no, like absolutely no. So Dante is like, okay, Sonny, Dad, if that's your real name, you want information about my brother and your son? Like,
I just kind of thought it like you just said, like dad, just mob daddy. I think that'd be really great.
oh my God. And he's like acting like Sonny's being inappropriate. It's like, fine, you want to know about Michael, your son, my brother? There is no warrant out for his arrest, but you may not like who we arrest. And I'm like, what?
Why? I know.
What? And now I'm scared. And, like, I found this week that everybody moved around really fast. Like, in 1 minute, they're one place, and in another, they're, like, in another place. And then sometimes
Which
people
house is
say
small.
yes, and then sometimes people have been saying things like, "It's been a month since Brit's returned."
Right?
And
I
I'm
was
like,
like, what?
"Oh, okay." So it's like I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna follow along as best as I can." And then Sonny immediately, he's like, and in front of Nina too, who's all like, "You're gonna get arrested." And it's like, "No, you're gonna get arrested." It's just so stupid. It's like,
It
this is
was so
so serious. This is so serious. And then Sonny's like, "Get on that jet." And then Carly's scared. And then Chase comes in and she can't escape. And then Nina's like, "What, Chase?" She's there. Carly's over there. But then
I'm Nina.
that's what was missing. And in my mind, I'm like, he was married to Nina. That's what Dante was referring to.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, Dante, why would that matter? Like, at the end of the day, I would never in a million years see Sonny fuel a jet for Nina.
Right?
So to say that, like, I'm sorry, that's like ridiculous. Like, Dante has no sense of the
Reality?
hierarchy. Yeah, the hierarchy and where he lands and where Nina lands. Like, he thinks that she's more important than she is, and he probably
Yeah.
thinks the same for himself. But what are you gonna
Yes.
do? What are you gonna do? My gosh, that whole thing was completely nuts. Completely nuts. But then Willow being like, "I'm being arrested?" But the thing is, she's so adamant that it's Michael. And I love
I
how
know.
in today's episode, I'm like, I don't follow. Like, so like Willow's being arrested. And then like Drew's like, "I'm gonna be there." And I'm like, well, that's helpful, right? That if you shot someone and he's like, "I love you and I'll pay for your lawyer." Hell, use my lawyer. I'm like, that could work in her favor. But then he's in the room with Willow. And then Willow's like, I thought my mom needed an alibi. And then he's like,
Yes.
"So you were protecting her?" And she's like, "Oh my God, you were right about Michael. He's
Right?
evil."
Tears. I love you, Drew. Help
What?
me.
And then she stands next to him and she's like, "Will you remember that time you said you'd, air quotes, remember it was Michael? Did you mean that? Do you think now's the time?" And I'm like, but
My
how?
word.
Like, how is now the time? He was shot in the back. I don't remember. And then the moment your lover gets arrested, he's like, wrong person. He's like, "I remember who it is now. And it's the guy with the alibi, not the girl with the no alibi."
I
And they're
remember the sound of his shoes and the sound of his hair in the wind. It was Michael.
scary, right? Because Diane's there
Yes.
to sort of say, like, I get that she's arrested, but you two are not out of the woods, and they're the worst, like Carly and
The
Michael.
worst.
She's like, "Did you guys go to Elizabeth's?" They're like, "Yeah, hard, like a lot. Like super near when the gun was found."
But we stayed in the living room, guys. I swear.
But Elizabeth wasn't monitoring us. And I swear I didn't move. And I'm like, but Elizabeth went to the staircase though.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
She's just upstairs.
Next thing you know, we're gonna find out that Willow's room there's a room on the main floor. When we know there's no room on the main
There's no
floor.
room.
Because
Yes.
when Elizabeth broke her leg, she was like, "Let's bring a bed out here. Let's stay in the living room." So for the record, there is no ground floor bedroom, and you have to go
Mhm.
up to the stairs for the bedrooms. That's where Elizabeth came from when she was talking to Carly. So Carly did not, or I don't know, you can say she's quiet or she tiptoes, who knows. So that was bad. And Diane was like, "This is insane to me." She's like, "Even I knew you were lying." And the fact that they're all together and Sonny asked her a question and she's like, "Well, to answer that, you'll have to marry me." And I'm like, "Nope.
So
No,
funny.
no, 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 no." Because it's a matter of public record. If Elizabeth says you were there, you don't need to marry Sonny to confirm that information.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, but the Michael is just so confident. And the thing is, part of me wants to defend him too. And I'm like, at the end of the day, when Chase was saying, "Oh, Michael had plenty of time between like the warrants," but you can argue the email went out also that day. So in that moment, the notification went out that the custody case was being pushed to January. So he went to deal with that. Like, it's not hard to argue that the kids are a priority and he acted on that.
Yes, exactly.
And I like that they're finally like, Dante's finally getting around to this idea that facts matter over personal opinion, especially when it
Amazing.
comes to Michael's alibi. And Michael feels pretty good about his alibi. And then Nina was the only one that didn't know what to do. They're like, "So everybody knows it's not true, and there's proof that it's not true. So should I just keep telling everyone it is?" And they're like, "No,
So
no."
funny.
They're like, "But I want to protect Willow." Like, but they know it's not true. And the more you lie, the more it looks like you planned it together.
But I love Marco. Like Nathan, okay, fine. He's come from a really messed up family. He's navigating this like it's normal. Marco, even though he comes from a mob family that's pretty messed up, he's looking at Nina like, no, but like you can't, no,
No,
why? You're just
no. And like when Dante was talking to Nathan, he was like, well, you said that she was an overprotective sister and like imagine her as the mom and like how far would she go? Would she, because Dante thought if she's going to go this far, it means she'll take the fall. But I kind of got the idea that what she's thinking is, no, we'll just go to jail together. And I'm like, no.
yeah, bonding.
So I'm like, it's nothing is what we think it is. I'll just put that out there. And the fact that Nathan sits across from Dante and is not like, I had dinner with my nephew, your son, last night. Doesn't come up. Doesn't come up.
I know, right? Sorry, I had to compute all of the relations there for like half a second. I was like, computing. Yes, accurate. Selfie. Got it.
Nathan is not his uncle, nor is
No.
like, but I love that Rocco is more than willing to be like, yeah, this is Nana Obrecht, and this is Unky Nathan, and this is alternate mama.
Not such a bad guy, guys. Come on. Exaggeration.
I mean,
Yes.
if he's hearing it from Britt and Obrecht and Nathan, I'm hoping that like sinks in. But the more this is going on, it feels like Nathan is Nathan.
Yes.
That was really messed up. Like that they were all there together and they didn't tell Britt that. They're like, I was like,
know.
what?
But then there's that warning.
What warning?
Valentine.
Yeah. That's a real warning. So I was like, what? So they go there and this is me because the scene starts with like Valentine and Lulu and I'm just laughing.
Wait. Can I say it? Can I say
What?
what I think you're going to say? He looked more annoyed to see her than being in Steinmauer.
I was just like, no matter where this woman goes, it's just torture. It's torture. Like the lengths she'll go just to feel important. Like he's already in that prison, you know,
Right?
like Charlotte is there. And she's there to air quotes set ground rules. She's like, and all this, she's basically saying, don't make her like you more than she like me. She like me now. Help. Like just get out. Like when I was watching her and Charlotte on the plane, I'm like, who is parenting who?
Right?
Who is parenting who? And then watching, they paralleled Lulu try to speak to Valentine. And then they with Charlotte speaking to Jack Brennan. Only one of them sounded like a savvy adult, and it wasn't Lulu.
No, sadly it was not.
Like, Brennan was impressed by Charlotte. Like, Charlotte went at him. Like, she has to pretend to be like a teenager, and then she's a grown-up when mommy's not around.
So true. Next recruit for him. He's like, you know what? Join us.
Okay, I'm totally stealing what Johnny said because I'm writing, oh my God, like future WSB. And then he's like, yeah, running the WSB. And I'm like, wow, that's a great idea I just had. I just typed it down. But I could absolutely see Charlotte running, not being.
Yes.
And I mean, look, Joss is not terrible, but Charlotte was bred for this.
Yeah.
Bred for this.
Ooh, that's good.
And it's just not the same. Like, it's funny because we talk about like the mob world and the WSB and everybody's like, how do we navigate the different guns and the different enemies? But it is different because Carly doesn't know how to navigate it, not as well as she thinks she does. You know, there is, it's rough going between the two. But the thing is, like, Charlotte very much understands. And that's the thing about Valentine's character that I absolutely love is the consistency and how he's always 20 million steps ahead. So he like tolerates Lulu. He's Charlotte. And when he gave that warning, like the first thing he said, I thought it was really interesting because he prioritized Rocco. Like right away was like, protect your brother.
Yes, I love that.
Imagine if Lulu knew. Like, Lulu's busy being chaotic, being like, I want to be everyone's favorite. Pick me. And Valentine and all these other people are being really mature about her children.
He's out for dinner with his fam number 2, just, having a time.
It was completely insane. My mom's out of town. Guess what, boys? It's time for me to hang out with my other mom.
Oh, right?
That's so crazy.
He's wild, guys.
He's like, I got a second family and I see them when I can.
My mom's not looking.
And then Charlotte gets the photo. And that's the thing. Like when mommy's not looking, I have to like protect her. Like she has to make those decisions of what mommy can tolerate. And that's a lot about how Rocco and Charlotte are navigating their mom. What can she tolerate? Like Charlotte was open. I know this is hard for you.
Mhm.
She had to reward mommy. She was like, no, 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 you did good. I'm glad we did this. I know this is hard for you, but you put me first anyway. Just so Charlotte could stay ahead and in control of the situation.
Yes, she's doing her super spy tactics on a very easy target.
Yeah, and mommy's, like, reading her mag and just like, "What's happening on the internet?" And when she's talking to Charlotte about, like, the importance of the father-daughter relationship, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so insane," because the only thing that flashes in my mind is Lulu at that brothel. My dad disappeared. I'm gonna
Ugh.
I'm gonna dress up at a brothel to find him, and I'm like, "Nope. No." See, this is the difference, like, Charlotte has a relationship with Valentine. You got crumbs of Luke. You got crumbs of like this dynasty, this fantasy. And her relationship with her dad was like minutely real. Like it was real in crumbs, but a lot of it was fantasy. It was the desire to have something she didn't fully have. And to be honest, Charlotte has with Valentine, which she wishes she had with Luke. She would never have been Luke's number two. But Charlotte can be. And so it's really interesting watching the parallel of the Luke and Lulu relationship compared with the Valentine Charlotte relationship because it's way more solid. Like Charlotte has a foundation that is actually rooted in her dad, whereas Lulu doesn't. She has a shaky foundation of a family she struggles to be a part, to be a Spencer. She struggles with, she wants so badly to be part of the adventures and be Luke's daughter, but she wasn't really fully in. She had bits and pieces of what her dad could give her, but Luke never prioritized Lulu the way that Valentine prioritizes Charlotte.
Oh my gosh, I freaking love that so hard.
Yeah, so for me, it's funny to watch, and I did find a YouTube clip of Lulu at the brothel and Dante showing up to sort of handle that situation. He's like, "Is that when Dante first met Lulu?" I'm like, "No, unfortunately not." Like, he knew her and went to help. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I remember how grossed out I was by that storyline when I was
Yeah, this
watching
is
it.
terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Cesar is alive. I don't think Cesar is Nathan, but I mean, we revisited the paper that about the medication that Britt had.
Yes.
Um, I have to admit, I actually enjoyed the scenes where Anna was talking about Faison because I really felt it. I felt Anna's history with Faison, even though a lot of the time she seems hysterical, like I'm not gonna lie, and you're just like, get it together. But in this instance, I feel like it's so justified and she knows way more and understands way more. Her interaction with Brennan a little bit different. I know he sees her as the same, but I didn't see her in the same in that scene. And I think it has to do with like the history and us knowing Anna and what she's been through. And when the topic of Faison comes up, it is a bit more serious. And so even though she came up there upset and he might have seen her as maybe kind of emotional, I didn't. It was just very, very different for me because I think she's onto something. I do think that she put that together quickly. Cesar's kids are back. She's questioning the brain in the jar. She knows that Brennan is going to Valentine. She knows Valentine's connection to Cesar and to Peter. And Valentine made it clear that Cesar had a partner. It could be Pajama Dude, right? It could be Pajama Dude,
Right.
right? It
Okay.
could be that and not necessarily like a Peter, but I don't think it was Nathan. And, you know, Brit is putting on this front that she made this decision for her and it was an opportunity. But I think at the end of the day, like if it's true, Anna's interpretation or whoever was talking, I think it was Valentine, saying that Cesar would never see Brit as an equal. Obrecht reminded us that she hid Nathan from Cesar for a reason.
Yes.
And so in that scenario, I could see Cesar sort of using Brit, controlling her through her medical stuff, and especially with Nathan. So, like, I don't know that this leaving Port Charles was as voluntary as Brit has made it out to be.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. There's some really messed up stuff going like when you go back and look at her time there, she had like no power. It was very much seemed like she was forced to be at the Five Poppies. But I agree with you. Like the whole situation with Anna, we call her Anna Banana, but I find like over the murder board and talking about Faison, like I definitely got goosebumps when she was talking
Yeah.
about Faison and you felt the depth of the history of that moment for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. And like, so for that reason, I think like, I do think it was Cesar that was the boss, like, saying he would never approve of this.
Mhm.
And I don't know what she knew of Nathan. I think it's clear that Nathan could have been acting on Cesar's behalf unknowingly, but I don't know that he had direct contact with Brit or how much she interacted with Nathan. Like, I don't know that part.
Or do we think, as an alternative, that Faison's partner is maybe pretending to be Faison? Like, there's still some sort of like,
Maybe.
they talked about like, maybe there's plans in place and that somebody's carrying them through. And Anna made it a point to say to Brennan when she was retelling the story and just talking about her history and her knowledge, he was very flippant. And at the very end, she said, and somebody is going to get killed. So I think it's going to be Brennan.
And if it's not by like Cesar in this mission, it's absolutely going to be by Carly.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But I will say this, it's too much to also resurrect Peter.
It
But
is.
but for a split second to entertain the Peter factor is, could you imagine the Peter Maxi and then having had Nathan on ice all this time?
Oh, la la. I'm like
And if
grossed out.
but
Yeah.
like if Peter kind of comes back, that level of insanity, cruelty of the fact that he moved in on Maxi and had Nathan on ice the whole time, that is Cesar level stuff, and
True.
it does sort of, move things along generationally, right? Maxie
Mhm.
has the connection to Felicia and Anna, which were Faison's major targets, and
Yes.
then it continues through.
Uh,
So, I mean,
Damn.
that part too is really interesting. Brit obviously knows more than she's letting on, but like you pointed out,
Yes.
doesn't have much power, and I guess we're gonna have to wait and see on that front. But like we were saying, Brennan could be at risk of losing his life, but it may not be work related. Lee finds out, like, Jason told her, like, did you, like, what? Like,
I was shocked because,
shocked,
as we know, a
shocked.
month has passed, and he was just at this point in time, like, okay, he left out a lot of details. I was hoping that he would say just like a touch more the Brennan threat, but I think he was just letting her digest what was happening and what he knows so far, and just like it was like word vomit to your best friend. You're like, I've been waiting so long, and I wasn't supposed to tell you, but I need to tell you everything. Moment.
There's so much there, right? Because
Hmm.
he was given an ultimatum between Britt and Carly,
Exactly.
and again, following up on our conversation from last week, I continue to not know where this is going, but I do know that he picked Carly in a major way. And in that moment, I guess it would have been worse. Like the whole idea of I didn't tell you for a month is very different than you basically told me about Vaughn being WSB, and I knew something that was kind of exactly the same as that. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, how do you keep a secret when you're so close to it?
Right.
And in the previews, you saw that Jason told somebody, and to be honest, I thought he was telling Sunny, not Carly. And my logic for that was, well, I don't think in a million years he would just go and tell Carly this, especially with the whole Brennan Brit thread and Jocelyn made him promise. And I thought that the reason he would be, let's say, telling Sunny was to be careful. Like Joss was kind of in the inner circle to a degree, but to be careful because she's WSB.
Yes.
But it turns out she told Carly, and that's the thing. Like, I think it got interesting for me the moment Jason pointed out her cover protects her. I'm like, ooh,
It was really
interesting.
right? It was such a lovely way for him to share the information, but protect Joss at the same time.
Well, yeah, I absolutely love that because the moment I saw that part, because watching her react, it's a lot to take in. It's absolutely a lot to
Yes.
take in if you consider like how she has moved away from Sunny, the mob, her struggles over the years to keep her kids safe, to give them a completely different life, and then to find out you have a kid who entered a dangerous life. But once he pointed out, like her cover is her safety, her cover is her safety, her cover is her
Mhm.
safety, and the fact that that is her priority too. In that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, Carly is going to have to pretend it was Jocelyn, and she's gonna have to fake it with Brennan. And I put Brennan aside because immediately I'm like, this is gonna be so juicy between
Yeah.
Carly and Joss because she's gonna pretend, but we're gonna actually get to see some story about their relationship. And I I didn't actually know how good it would be. Like I got excited at the thought, but today I was absolutely riveted by their interactions.
Oh my god, I have goosebumps again. Tell me everything.
Because, like, we've always loved the Joss Carly relationship. And that's the thing. Like when she heard that news, it was heartbreaking because her and Joss have a really close relationship. And I felt, in the past few weeks when we'd be talking, I just felt like Carly was being made to be like this fool,
Yes.
like this prop. And I think, historically, like Carly unfortunately couldn't hide too much from Bobby. Carly put on Bobby's lap a lot of really difficult things. So there was authenticity and I would say mostly transparency between them. Like being Carly's mother wasn't easy. So if anything, I would be like, oh, like as we move forward, we'll see that Carly will experience a little bit of that, continue to connect and have a relationship with her mom through her relationship with Jocelyn, experiencing what it's like to have been Bobby in all of these moments. But this is hard, right? Because things were messy with her and Bobby, and this is like she's
Yeah.
cut off. She's cut off. So this is a very different experience, and I don't think one she ever thought, especially after everything she had built with Jocelyn, right? As a
Yes.
mom, you invest in her and Jocelyn had this relationship that she invested in. And to be fair, like it's kind of gone. Like you can't like, it's gone. Like, she lied to her. Like,
Yeah.
like, everything they had built. So, I think having watched this relationship evolve, come to be, it was just so poignant. You have a mother sitting across from her daughter. Joss made this choice, and she's only slowly discovering the cost. She was warned, you have to lie to your
Yeah.
family. It's a different life. It's lonely. And she did give up a bit of her life. She gave up a bit of her relationship with her mom.
Mhm.
Carly is watching this girl that you're losing, like, metaphorically and could possibly lose for real because of this line of work. The conversation was interesting because Carly was testing what she knew, and it kept getting confirmed again and again and again in front of her.
Yes.
She was able to get information to understand this decision. Given that she's been lying, this is definitely the most she's learned about her daughter in a long time.
Well, yeah.
I don't think Jocelyn realizes how much she really divulged. They did bring back the Cyrus thing because as Carly confirmed this week, I never killed anybody. We know that her son has, and we know that
Yes.
her daughter has, and it's different because it wasn't self-defense exactly. It's not the
Mhm.
same context as what happened with Michael. And so having that kind of brought up, I was just so fascinated. Like, of course, there's this dramatic story about her being in the WSB, but I was really pulled in by the story that is the relationship between Carly and Jocelyn. And I think last week I talked about being at a crossroads, and I just figured the crossroads in relationships was actually going to be between her and Jason. And I guess I didn't really
Yes.
consider at the time last week the crossroads between her and Jocelyn. Like, I just find that is in itself a really big story, and I do think she's gonna have to pretend with Jack again to keep Jocelyn safe, and in my mind, this is what I pictured, and again, I don't know what that means for Jason and
Mhm.
Carly, but how does this not bring them together? Because it reminds me of when she pretended to be with AJ. So there was this time period, and you can find old YouTube clips, where she moved back into the Quartermaines as a way
Mhm.
of she thought she was doing a good thing, but ultimately it got Michael removed from Jason, and basically she just, like, moved in with AJ. Like, she just did that.
Mhm.
And, like, she would go there, she would pretend, and then there would be these stolen moments of her and Jason outside of the Quartermaines, like, on the patio, and how hard it was because they were a family all together, and then she kind of did this thing, and so she had to pretend, and then there was him. And so part of me does see it that way. If she pretends, right, for Jocelyn's safety, because he says she has to maintain cover to keep safe. If she chooses to pretend, which we'll find out next week with Brennan,
Mhm.
then it means she's gonna be living this fake life that's taxing, and then she'll be running back to Jason for, like, a recharge. So I don't know what this means for their relationship, like, how that's gonna be handled, because this, I feel, draws them together, and it intensifies things between them.
So it's that, like, little nudge that they needed, and again, I'm not saying it's because they need to be in a relationship, but their friendship.
I don't know.
Exactly right. We don't really know, but there's been some distance. They've been, creating their own lives and different paths, and this will definitely, like, rebond that situation.
Well, he kinda reaffirmed that, like, "I don't lie to you." Like, he was trying to
Yeah.
reconnect with their relationship, which is interesting considering we said, like, physically, they're not in scenes together. They don't really have a lot of
Mhm.
story together. So reconnecting, yeah, I completely feel that, and I'm curious what's happening because this is the most connected they've been in story for a while. But as for Brit, this is kind of interesting because ultimately, isn't he not proving like her right? Like her whole shtick is Carly is like your world, and I don't want that. And he's like, okay, yeah, it is. Like what? You know what I mean? Like, how does the so it's interesting because it's basically the opposite. Like, it brings Carly and Jason together, but it does bring Britt and Jason apart on that level, like, emotionally, I mean,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
he's also suspicious of her. He knows she's hiding things. He wants to help her, like, he might help her with a car and help her with a place to live, but he's a little standoffish there. So this is kind of interesting. I'm like, I don't know where that's gonna go, but I feel like there's definitely a lot of room for big story and people to play with in terms of Brit. Like this idea that what I find different now, if this was years ago, Britt coming back, it would have literally just been for Jason, and here's a love story, and look at that, the hate
Yes.
turned into love. But it's not that, it's very evolved. She even said, "No thanks if I'm not a priority." And she's here for other things, like watching her in those scenes with Rocco and her mom and Nathan and a Cesar storyline, and she's having that interaction with Vaughn, and she's getting into it with Lucas. Like she has her own stuff going on
Yes.
too. So, I mean, and Brit had a story before Jason, and she'll have a story after Jason.
Oh,
She'll
yeah,
have a
I love
story no
that.
matter what. So, I guess I think that things aren't necessarily as they seem. Even with Michael, like, part of me is like, it looks like he framed her, but I actually don't think he did. I think what happened was that when he went to Drew's, because Tracy saw him there, and he claims that he got
Yes.
out of the car, got rained on, and then thought better of it and got in the car. But what I think is that he showed up to Drew's and saw Willow running off.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
where his confidence comes from.
I agree.
And it's possible that if he planted the gun, it's because he found evidence to know that it was her and basically like just supported that in a way. So I don't know. It looks like he's framing her, but I just don't think that he did. And I loved how you talked about it last week, going full now that it is actually Willow. And I kind of hope it is because I don't know how Chase will live with himself if it turns out she did and it really happened that way. And something that I wonder if you remember, when Drew was shot, because Kai and Trina walked us through the whole thing,
Yes.
I
Step by step.
feel yeah, so I feel like their recap is meaningful, and I'm concerned that by them recapping it, it means that they're gonna get drawn back into it more center stage than they meant to be, whether it's them directly or whether it's Portia and Curtis, like, there's that possibility. So when they were talking and recapping, one of the
Mhm.
things was they brought back up was the ringtone,
Yes.
and I can't remember. His phone rings. Did they zoom in and did we see it was Scout on the screen? Was there ever a scene like that
I
where
don't think
we
so.
because everyone kept saying it was Scout and his phone rang to the point that I'm like and I'm trying to find clips, but there's often the clips on YouTube of the first day he was shot as
Mhm.
opposed to the follow-up episode where he gets shot again and then we see like the follow through. Because if we didn't see Scout's name on the screen,
Mhm.
I'm wondering if that's the tell that Trina and Kai are the only ones that heard that ringtone and know that that
Yes.
happened. And because the police, everybody, they just know that there was a call and the call could have interrupted the shooter. So, what if at some point in time, Willow's phone goes off and they hear that ringtone?
Yes. I got goosebumps again.
So, that's what I'm thinking there. But did you not love, just going back to some funnies, Britt dealing with Vaughn and Britt dealing with Lucas?
All of Brit moments were hilarious. The only one I didn't really like was when she was antagonizing Joss on Friday.
Yeah, but I just love that Joss kinda went after her in front of
Me too.
Jason. It was really I mean, look, I I didn't like it, but I do kinda love that Brit treats Joss like an equal, and that happens, we see that,
Y
right? When we have
Yes.
characters that grow up, and they're hitting adult storylines. And then it's kind of like Rick, how he is with Christina, but like she's not a kid, like she's an adult. And you have characters like that are more rough and just kind of like blunt and honest. And they're like, no, I'm going to go toe to toe with you. I see what you could do. I see who you are. And I kind of love that. I see that dynamic. So I do appreciate her going toe to toe with Jocelyn, but it's weird for us because of how we see the characters. But I could see how Britt would do that. I could see how Rick would do that because he's not looking at these kids through rainbow glasses, right? He doesn't care for Christina. He's not Molly.
No, that's fair enough, and I loved Jason's face because it's like he's in this world where he's got all of these really strong women around him, and
Yeah.
he's just, like, reliving this moment with kind like, you look at his face and it's just, like, kind of how we feel in the sense of, like, "Holy cow," she's just, like as it is, he saw her at the WSB thing, and now she's, like, threatening to burn Britt's life to the ground, like, it's wild.
Yeah, and he was testing her, and now he knows that Carly contained herself, and he's definitely gonna wanna
Mhm.
check on her. And so going back to Rick, so at first, we're faked out with the dog, and I'm like, "This nosy dog, since it's come on this show, it's in everybody's business." And so when I saw that it was Elizabeth, I'm like, "Do you not recognize that it's Alexis's house? Why don't you just go
I
see
know.
her? Why is everybody traipsing around and opening this?" And then it turned out it was a fantasy. But then Cody comes in and he's like, "It's Alexis's house. Let me traipse around and walk inside." I'm like, "Really? You hear someone scream, you run. You don't save
Right?
kidnapped peoples."
La, la,
And
la.
so he comes in, finds Rick. Honestly, there's no amount of gold stars for how amazing that was. Like, even before that
Right?
moment, I'm just loving Ava, Christina, Alexis
Amazing.
making peace, Ava being reflective, them wanting to let it go. And I was just like, yes, yes, make peace because Ava has to train Christina for the mob, be her
Exactly.
tutor in all things gray space. And they're just so funny together. And we know that Ava's always been looking for like her people and some people to hang out with. And I just, I just like them together so much. And I'm like, no, stay together. And I was so happy with that. Like Christina and her shake hands. She gives the car before like everything is sort of done. And then everything kind of comes to a head.
In a big, big way.
My gosh. Okay, honestly, Rick, I know he's mad. I get that he's upset.
Upset much, jeez.
He actually thinks he has a leg to stand on. You know what I mean? Like he did
Mhm.
blackmail Alexis. He did commit a crime. Like you don't get to run your mouth on this. Like you can tell Cody all you want, but it comes back on you. And just the insults back, like calling them a coven, right? My favorite, and I posted it, was Alexis when she's trying to convince Cody that what they
Yes.
did was saner than it looked, and that they took good care of him, and that they played cards, and that she played his hand. I had to rewatch that so many times, and even Christina's face when that happened, I'm like, this is hilarious. And then all of a sudden, Molly walks in. First of all, she goes to Dante. They're tracking the phone. I'm like, no. And then they come in and we're tiptoeing to see what Rick's going to do. When he turned around and decided to go with, I joined a cult, I'm like, gold star to UGH. Because as much as like I love the drama and all this stuff and the love, I also love nothing more than daytime soap comedy. I love
Yes.
it when they're very meta and acknowledging that they're a soap and making fun of soapy things within the show. Like, loving that. This, funny. Like, in the week when I would see, like, Christina, Ava, Alexis together, I mean, these are my new favorite criminals. I love
Right,
this
thank you very
trio.
much.
I need them to keep at it. I absolutely love it. And Rick has no choice but to play along with it. And Cody has no choice but to play along with it because
Yes.
it secures Molly. So it's a moot point for him to rip away her family. And she's like trying to like kiss him and everything.
There's so much good, like, I have so many early stars for them. Alexis knows how to make Ava's tea. They're just besties,
That
and
was
Alexis,
good.
oh my gosh, so good, and Alexis's face throughout the entire scene, just, like, giddy, like, trying to but awkward and uncomfortable at the same time, it was gold.
It was so good, and what was even better was, like, you know, Ava being like, "Hey, why are you worried? Like, why are you not celebrating?" And just walking
Right?
through things, and but I do agree with Alexis, though, she's like, "He's gonna come for revenge, like, he's gonna keep his mouth shut."
Yes.
but he's coming back for all of us. I'm like, yes, that means you guys have to stay working together. And this is like my new favorite thing, Rick versus all of them, while Molly is in the middle, like having all of these like family dinners. Everyone's literally trying to kill each other. And Molly's
Right?
like, look at my family around this table. I have this boyfriend. It's going to be
Amazing.
so good. And I liked how they were reassuring each other. And then like Christina putting in her point of view, no, Cody's not going to say anything. Molly is his incentive. And everyone listening to each other. Like it was phenomenal.
We even got an Ava, Alexis, you're a good mom. Well, you're a good mom
That
too.
That was a lot. That was everything.
Uh-huh.
When she said that and Alexis, like, returned the favor in saying that was
Yes.
so huge between the two of them. And I mean, she can use some friends with Nina in jail. Like, did you notice that? Like, Alexis knew she was talking to Nina, knew that she was in trouble, knew
Yes.
that, like,
Yes.
again, we know that Rick was the lawyer, but the point is she was calling Ava and Ava was trying to help a friend. And immediately Alexis jumped in, tell me the charges, and like supported her through it.
Amazing. Amazing. Love them.
Amazing week.
Okay. Right? Okay. So we talked about all the things. We covered all the stuff. There was a funny of Anna. She was very serious this week, but there's one moment in particular that brought back Anna Banana. And I'm sure you
What?
caught it. It was when Anna hugged Nathan to
Yeah.
test if it was really Nathan. That was her test.
Oh, she did hug him, but then he makes weird faces that make
He
me
does.
go, "Where are you?" Like they're still faking us out a little bit here and there because there is a mystery surrounding his absence.
I love the location switches, like the family meeting at the Quartermains, Sunny's many meetings at Diane's office.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
loved kind of the switch around, and there were so many comments on not only our page but other pages about the prison and the decor and the poster in the
The
back.
sign?
That was
No,
bonkers.
the sign was distracting. It was louder than Lulu, and that's saying a lot. But did you notice, like, speaking of Nathan, did you notice the DA looking at him when she walked into the room?
I did not.
Because she walks in and just notices Nathan's there, like, an addition to the room. He's a nice addition to the
He
room.
is a nice addition to the
Nice
room. Oh my gosh.
addition.
So she like redecorated her office. We had lots of time in her space. And then one of my funny favorite moments when she's like, we have your video, we have the footage, Nina. We know you were at your condo, blah, 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 blah. So Nina, apparently, if you stand up and scream louder, the lie becomes real.
My gosh, she did it at the police station where she was going at it with the DA. And as much as I
Mhm.
like angry Nina, I'm like, this is not the time. She's
No,
like,
not the time.
Michael did it. You're working for the Qs. And even Sunny. I was like, no, I don't no. let's not do that. I don't think this is helpful. But yeah, there's like a lot happening. And I will say this. I agree with Michael. I do think Ronnie is more of a shots and a beer girl than a tea party girl.
I think that was one of my favorite lines as well. Do you have other favorite lines and stars to give out?
My gosh, stars to the arrest, stars to like everything, to like Ava, to Christina, to Alexis, the Rick storyline, the arrest storyline was really entertaining. So much of it was good. The Jocelyn, the like epic Jason Carly reveal there, like there was so much there that was fascinating. I think what is to be fascinating, while it's like, Chase, what are you doing? I do think that that could wind up being quite big wherever Chase is going. It's not good and it could be big. I guess the mystery for me is who's going to be at this tea party. Because if I were to find people for Ronnie to connect with and like, it would be like Felicia, maybe Carly, you know?
Yes, I
So
agree.
I'm looking forward to this tea party. How many people? Because there was 4 tea pots. I'm like, that's so much tea.
What
Anyways,
was
I'm stuck
your
on that. I'm stuck on the tea. I
I
don't know what to
can
tell
see
you.
that.
I
So
don't know
what
what to
was
say.
your cutie pie moment of the week?
To be honest, my cutie
Oh
pie moment
gosh.
is Ava, Christina, and Alexis. It's that.
Yes.
It's them making peace. But another honorary moment, I guess it would be Gio and Ronnie.
Ronnie.
So it's like I'm still trying to understand, but like in this moment, yeah, I could see how that conversation, it was really impactful. She's speaking from experience of these family divides of thinking you have so much time. Yeah, I could see how she moves some things along, but I'm not down for her to be there simply to have animosity with Tracy. Like that I don't really care for because there's so much drama already happening.
I agree, and I'm confused. Just putting this out there, the $50 tip, if she's supposed to not have money. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, she was a waitress, and seeing as how she's not paying rent for like the next while, like maybe she had an extra 50, but I can't believe we forgot. I have to give a gold star to the Drew Jens scenes. I thought this
My
was hilarious.
word.
The entire time, I thought it was completely insane that like Tracy and Drew, everybody is working with Jens. I'm like, he's an international criminal. Why does everyone think this criminal is better than Sonny the criminal? And everybody was like, I don't care. I hate Sonny so much. I'll work with this criminal instead. I mean, Tracy somewhat knows how to protect herself, but Drew, and this, like, we talked about it last week where I felt like Drew was in situations with people exerting the same power, but it not having the same influence. Like, it's still
Mhm.
working on Willow, but who knows who's working who in that situation. But with Jens, it was such a prime example of that. He's like, you, international criminal, I know you care about my love life as much as I do. What do you mean you're in control of me? What do you mean you had the upper hand this whole time? I did not know you would be so conniving. Like, what? Like, I love this moment because that makes a lot of sense. Like, the fact that this international criminal, Andrew, like, and Drew has gone to him in the past, kind of pushing and making demands. Like, again, why you feel like you can is beyond me. So I kind of like stepping into reality, like Drew stepping into this reality of being like, oh, you really are an international criminal. That was amazing to me. And Jen's facial reactions, gold star to the face acting, where Jen's kept acting surprised and like he cared about Drew's love life.
Right?
That was amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It was an exciting week. There was a
It
lot that
was.
happened. Every day was an adventure. I cannot wait until next week. Folks, we did it. That's a wrap. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.